Are you looking to make the move to New Jersey? Well, come along for a ride with me today. I'm gonna be driving through Chester Borough in Morris County, New Jersey. It's a small, cute little town. And I'm gonna be pointing out all the sights and scenes, like the really cute downtown area with all the shops, the beautiful homes, the private neighborhoods, and everything in between that you would want to know if you were moving from across the country and had no idea what Chester Borough was all about. You just happened to see it on a map or see a home pop up on Zillow. Because just to remind you, I am a realtor in the state of New Jersey, and I would love to be a real estate choice in making the move to the Garden State. So feel free to call, text, or email me at any time. But without further ado, let's get on the road. Your perspective for today is going to literally be like you're sitting in my passenger seat. And this is what I would do if you did make the trip to New Jersey and wanted me to kind of give you a tour of the town. So I'm taking care of that for you. Right now, we're in the most western part of Chester Borough. I'm actually in the parking lot of the library. And on the middle of the day, on a Wednesday, the parking lot is packed. I don't know if they're giving away free books, free lunch. I'm not quite sure, but it's packed. Immediately to my right, which actually is going to take us into Chester Township, which surrounds Chester Borough, is Chub Park. And they host a really big carnival every summer. It's the Fireman's Carnival. It's a fundraiser for the local volunteer fire department, but they've got games and rides. It's been a staple in town for a very long time, ever since I was a kid. We bring our kids there every year now, just because there's always something fun to do with them. Ice cream, funnel cakes, fire truck rides, fireworks, the whole shebang. There's also a pond there that when it does freeze over on occasion in the winter months, that's something you can also do. Directly across from me is Alstede Farm, which I'm gonna make a comment about in just a bit. But it's a big farm that has a lot of presence, has a big presence in this area. You see them at all the local farmers markets. It draws a big crowd in the fall months for their fruit picking, pumpkin picking, hay rides. They do like live music events there. It's become quite the spectacle. But again, they have a huge presence in this area. And once I could find a route out of here, I will get on our way and we'll start moving east. Okay. So we're moving east. We got the Lamplighter restaurant over here on my left. The exterior has seen some better days, but I drove past here the other day and there was plenty of cars in the parking lot here, so people still go there. It's been a while since I've personally been there, but okay. Now we're also approaching one of the kind of 4 main shopping hubs in Chester Borough. This one in particular has, a physical therapy place, Ace Hardware, which we go to frequently. But my most frequented stop here is the Chester Meat Market. They have the best quality food around. And honestly, it makes like the food at the grocery store taste like garbage. I can't even go there anymore. Chester Bagel we go to a lot, which if you're coming to New Jersey and you ever had Chester Bagel before, bagels here in New Jersey are the best. Larison Turkey Farm, definitely important to point out. So this has been like a vacant, building for as long as I can remember. There's a new proposal out for development that includes 24, affordable housing units, 66 market value units, and then another 20 luxury, townhome units, all to go in this area, and also have a Chick-fil-A, which would be a cool addition to this area, and an Alstede farmers market. So again, it's like a 27-acre lot. I think the thought too is that Alstede Farm would take over some of that land and kind of cultivate it for their farming use. But that would really change the landscape of kind of this how this downtown flows. I think it would give it kind of a little boost for the better. I think obviously the only time there's really traffic or a lot of people here is in the fall when people go to the farms, because it's not just Alstede. There's a couple other farms around here. But now we're crossing over Route 206. We're entering the downtown area. You got Taylor's Ice Cream on my right, which is like another staple, been here for forever. But all mom and pop shops, right? Home decor, boutique, clothing. My barber's over here on the right. Fit Barber Studio, shout out to my boy David. We go to New York Pizza, like a little Italian place over here pretty frequently as well. But you've got plenty of the cutesy shops here. We're gonna be making a left. Obviously the fire station's on my right. We're gonna make a left onto Hillside Ave and going into one of the few sections in Chester Borough or Chester Township that have public sewer and public water. So again, that's kind of where I come into play as a realtor with this local knowledge of like what is where. And a lot of my clients do have an aversion to septic and well. So again, I can help guide you in that direction. We are going to go into a pretty unique neighborhood in Chester that does have both public sewer and public water. It's called Shadow Ridge. You can see all underground electric too. There's no wires hanging in the street, which in this area is not uncommon. Got a sign for Mendham High School, which is important to point out that Chester Borough and Chester Township, they go to West Morris Mendham High School, which is like an A+ rated school according to niche.com, which I always tell all my clients to do your own research for school specifics, but I mean, it's public knowledge if you go out there. That's not my opinion. And this neighborhood has like a Chester Township feel, but it's in the borough, and like I said, has that public sewer, which typically if you're gonna buy a house like this in Mendham or Chester Borough, Chester Township or Chester Borough, it's not gonna have public sewer, I'll tell you that. I'm gonna make a left over, this is just a little cul-de-sac view here. Doesn't hurt to give you a little bit more perspective, but I actually meant to make a left on the next street. I always try to map out my route here to be as efficient as possible. Now we are making a left. All right, now I actually am gonna go left, and we're gonna go towards like the tail end of the downtown Chester that we missed, just because I wanted to point out a specific park that we would have never passed if I didn't do this extra little loop here. But again, walkable to downtown. Got a Little League field to my left. Babe Ruth field to my right, so the bigger field. I do see people and teams playing there often. So there are fields that are in use. Boy Scouts of America building over here on the right. They sell Christmas trees, for their fundraising efforts in December. They got that little pavilion out here. There's a big Chester craft show where this entire lawn over here on my right is just covered with tents and different vendors and stuff. So that's a big draw for people to Chester. If you're into arts and crafts. People make some really cool stuff, impressive. Sub Pub, PH Steakhouse, little maple syrup shop. I'm going back on Hillside though to show you another neighborhood that doesn't have public utilities, but would obviously be more affordable than the homes in Shadow Ridge. All right, so this one, public nothing. It's got septic and well, and I actually have a story about some clients who I recently helped them move to Mount Olive. They had a home in Chester Township, which I didn't help them with, and it had well, because there's a lot of well water around here, and it happened to be next to a gas station. And when they did the well test, during the inspections, everything came up fine, but the house was vacant. So basically what happened was once they started living there and started like kind of pulling from the water source, it was drawing in this kind of contaminated soil from the gas station, and basically was contaminated with gasoline. So the house eventually became condemned, and long story short, they moved and really wanted public water. That was an important thing to them, which makes sense. Now I tell you that story just because honestly, if you were my client and you were looking at a house next to a gas station, I probably would have you think twice about it. Not just for a well purpose, but also resale value. You know, like it's always going to have a little notch against it when that's the case. But yeah, so that's just one story to share about some clients I have who are just had a baby. They're living in Mount Olive right now in the Bud Lake section. Got themselves a good spot there. All right, we're on Route 206, which is a highway. If I keep going straight, it'll eventually get me to Route 80. And if I went the other direction, it'll bring me to Route 287. So as far as like a commuting to work thing, you know, makes Chester Borough a convenient location. You're gonna be driving a good distance to get there, like 15, 20 minutes to either highway. And 206 kind of like splits Chester Borough almost in half. This little section has public sewer and public water as well. And eventually we actually are going to be passing the water treatment plant that allows this area to have public sewer. You can see this house over here with all the stonework. There's a lot of historic homes in Chester Borough. Actually, my grandmother lived in an apartment on Main Street when she was like a really young, like high school age. All right, so now we're going up Oakdale. This is the same street as that water treatment plant. We also got Reamead Farm over here on the left, which also draws a really big crowd in the fall. It's got apple picking. We take the kids there just for something to do. They got like, I think there's also like, you can see Santa, get your picture with Santa Claus. There's, what else? There's like a little market shop. You can get some cider donuts and other treats. But again, gets crowded in the fall. But this whole area draws a big crowd for that kind of stuff. Over here on my right is a house that has been vacant for a long time. Someone obviously just bought it and is trying to flip it, looks like. But the water treatment plant's right here. Which again, do you want to be right next to a water treatment plant? I don't know. But these are the kind of things I point out on my virtual tours to make sure that, you know, you're not going to waste your time coming out here. This house over here on the right, always liked it because of the porch. It's got 3 acres, just closed for around $800,000 to give you a ballpark. Again, if you're watching this video years from now, that could be a much different number. But at least in April of 2025, that's what it was going for. Updated, looks like it was like a builder bought that house and kind of made it what it is today. Now we're on Melrose. You got public sewer and public water here as well. Homes are a little further off the street here. You can still walk to town from here too. It's just a little bit further. A little bit more of a hike. I'm gonna keep going straight because these are some like newer builds down like in a little cul-de-sac. Nice day, not a cloud in the sky here. Early spring, so some of the flowers are starting to pop. Just gonna go down this cul-de-sac, turn around. So we'll work on exiting this neighborhood now. All right. Now I'm going to take you to one more farm and do a U-turn there just to show you another option for fall festivities that we also have taken our kids to. They got like a little playground there for the kids too. And then we're gonna also pass up here, kind of pass. You'll at least be able to see the back end of the parking lot. This is Suburban Hills Daycare, which I actually went to as a kid. To my right is like the parking lot for the entrance of a restaurant called the Redwoods, which is my favorite Chester restaurant. It's been a staple here in town for a really long time. Menu hasn't changed all that much over the years, but like it's always good. Like you're never gonna be disappointed. There's a little bar area in there as well. But we're gonna go left real quick to Stony Hill Farm. And if I were to go right, it's like Main Street. So we got the Exxon station. Urgent care over there. All right, so this is Stony Hill. I'm just gonna do a U-turn here. But there's lots of stuff to do here in the fall. So this is like the furthest east in Chester Borough. Will I make this light? That is the question. I'm gonna hang a left here. I think I just might. We'll let this Tesla pass. Okay. All right, now we're gonna go through this neighborhood, which now we're switching back to septic and well. So on like the south side of Chester Borough, we've got septic and well. And elementary school is kind of beyond these homes to the left. Dickerson Elementary. We're going to be making our way to one of, right, came up on me quick, butt F. We're going to be making our way over to Grove Street Park, which is one of my kids' favorite parks. It's kind of in between Randolph, where my mom lives, in Long Valley, so we meet up there. And then downtown is like right ahead. I'm talking like 2-minute walk. Orange Street. Actually, no, we're going Cherry. These are kind of like historic homes back here. Definitely older. Do left on Cherry. All right, then Grove Street is directly across from me. Got a really nice playground. Has a sand pit with a little excavator toy that my kids like to play on. Walking path. I see a lot of people playing tennis there. They do camps there. And then we'll make our way to the other side. I'll show you something else that's kind of unique about it as well. But it's tree covered. There's basketball courts, tree covered. So in the summer, it's a nice park to pick because you're not going to get pelted by the sun. And directly ahead of me is like another major shopping center in Chester. Big shop right there. So to the right is like a field house, Chester Field House. We actually had my wife's baby shower there a few years ago. But you can rent it out for, reasonable price. You just got to bring your own stuff, obviously. But they got chairs and tables. But it's a part of the park. Okay. Next, we'll take a drive through the shopping center and kind of show you the shopping options here. So you got Nitroflex Gym here. Obviously, car repairs, Panera Bread, which again, semi-recently updated. or been here. Then we got Marshall's, Home Goods, the Party Store, ShopRite is like the biggest attraction here. Chipotle, Five Guys, Pilates, just naming a few, but lots of shopping here. Then across the street here, we've got the streets of Chester. There's a Starbucks. There's like a wellness grocery store, like organic grocery store, Jersey Mike's, White Black store, some kind of like Talbot's, Banana Republic, some kind of more high-end retailers. The Gap. Just for time's sake, I'm not gonna go there, but I pretty much just got one more neighborhood, one more sneaky neighborhood in Chester Borough, and we'll call it a day here. There's a Dunkin' Donuts, a ShopRite Liquors, and looks like a Cleaners there as well. So I'm gonna make a left. We're on 206 right now, just to give you your bearings. Chester Diner, which I used to go to in high school a lot, but haven't been there in a long time. Okay. And Windy Top Lane. You got this like random neighborhood back here with bigger homes. This one is septic though. I'd say probably not as walkable because you'd have to cross 206 to get to like most of them, most of the shops. But still nice homes. And like in the backyard, like you got commercial buildings in the backyard of that house. But again, like when I'm showing you these houses virtually, I am giving you the blow by blow. What I'm hearing, what I'm smelling, what I'm seeing. Pop the drone up, you can see exactly what's in the area. So yeah, if you don't want to have a commercial space right behind you, you'll definitely know that before you make your way out here. But yeah, so obviously, like I just said, I'm a realtor and would love to be a real estate choice with making the move to the Garden State. So feel free to call, text, or email me at any time, and I'll see you guys in the next video.